2019 was quite the significant year in Arlington. There was, of course, Amazon, and with it, the most significant affordable housing contribution this county has ever received. But our year, though, was much more than that. Permitting finally entered the 21st century. We established regulatory regimes to enable the development of smart cities technologies and to bring order to the shared mobility devices that populate our public rights of way. We completed monumental updates to our plans that govern our public spaces and also approved a plan to have ours become a carbon-neutral community in 30 years. And we began the necessary work, the very important work, so that our community can become one where one's status doesn't decide one's outcomes, where urbanization doesn't disconnect us from nature, and where pedestrians and bicyclists can be safe on our streets. In Arlington, we vision, we plan, and we execute. And in 2020, I look forward to the work to widen sidewalks, upgrade and underground utilities, and begin installing transit stations along Columbia Pike, to substantially completing the facilities at Lubber Run and Longbridge, to transforming several parks, including Benjamin Banneker and Jenny Dean. All of these incredible investments, these new facilities or upgrades to existing ones, will benefit many generations of Arlingtonians. But I also look forward to the planning work this year, to plan the future of Lee Highway, and to update our urban forest and natural resources plans. And I very much look forward to the implementation frameworks for both the Public Spaces Master Plan as well as the Community Energy Plan. But you know what? This is the year where half of our time is going to be devoted to consideration of our annual operating budget, as well as our capital improvement plan that will take us through fiscal year 2030. So I will prioritize providing sufficient resources for our public schools, funding metro expansion into Loudoun County and to Dulles Airport, keeping our infrastructure, our assets in a state of good repair, investing in making our community resilient in the face of the climate crisis, developing the capacity to deliver infrastructure and public facilities in Pentagon City and Crystal City so that residential livability doesn't take a back seat to commercial redevelopment. And also leveraging the creation of the preservation of homes for low and moderate income earners who are woefully underserved by our current housing market. Planning and executing these priorities will require the very best of us, but it's important that we also take the time this year to vision. Now, there is no doubt that those of us who have been in this region for a long time are witnessing a period of tremendous change, and that is certainly reflected here in Arlington. There is also no doubt, because we hear from them on a regular basis, that there are some who do not welcome all of these changes. I get it. If you have been someone who has been well served by the way Arlington has been, it's understandable that you would be concerned that the pace and shape of the changes that you see will diminish your quality of life. But I also hear from those who have not been as well served, who embrace change for the potential increased opportunities that growth and investment can bring. However, we, and I'm speaking about us, must resist the temptation to see these perspectives as being irreconcilably at odds with one another, and look to engage those who hold different points of view about change that may be different from our own. And we also need to bring the totality of views on change into dialogue with one another. The truth is, there is no responsible policy mechanism that we can implement that will preserve the status quo. But it's also true that the inevitability of change will not automatically produce positive outcomes for those who have endured diminished opportunities to live and thrive in our county. We must come together as a community to plan for change and growth, but also to shape it so that Arlington, the Arlington that we built, can evolve to better serve both the long-tenured and the newcomer alike. So in the year ahead, I want to engage with as many Arlingtonians as I possibly can in any forum to consider how we encourage sufficient and appropriate housing improve our resilience to weather events, and enhance our natural resources, while also having the infrastructure to move people and to educate our children. Idealistic? Perhaps, but realizable? Absolutely. And that is why last year I prioritized equity as a central framework for our governance. By developing the capacity to recognize barriers that marginalized and vulnerable populations face in trying to thrive, we can deliver public policy that is responsive to all and not only to those with power and influence. Now, I am excited about what we're doing right here in Arlington, but my aspirations in housing and transportation connectivity, sustainability, resilience, and human development exceed our ability to achieve needed results alone. I will look to multiply our efforts through collaboration with our fellow jurisdictions in Northern Virginia, our neighbors in the National Capital Region, and with our state government. Now, our remarks tonight are important in setting our direction and tone for the year. But as the wise sage Benjamin Franklin once noted, well done is better than well said. So with that, I'll shut up and say that I'm ready to get to work. Thank you.